Hello and welcome to Green Healing, where we discuss alternative and natural healing from abuse and CPTSD. Today I'd like to talk about people pleaser syndrome and its traits. Because many of us who have been in abusive relationships also have people pleaser syndrome. Remember that it's not wrong to be a people pleaser. It simply means we have trauma that needs to be healed and boundaries to develop. Looking at the traits can allow us to better assess what we need to work on in order to overcome our people pleaser syndrome. People pleaser syndrome can make us vulnerable to abuse and may attract controlling people into our lives. Usually it is developed because of trauma that has caused us to have underdeveloped or ill-defined boundaries by someone controlling and guilt-tripping, which taught us a false sense of self, thinking we were not pleasing, we were being unkind or selfish. It can be caused by abuse, thus furthering our vulnerability to more abuse. Here are traits of people pleaser syndrome. Feeling responsible and guilty for how others feel. A tendency to neglect one's own needs and health. Putting the needs of others first. Avoiding confrontation. Pretending to agree with others or having a fear to express one's true thoughts and opinions so much that someone might think when you do disagree that you are being influenced because you've played the part so well. Being overly apologetic. Having an intense inability to say no or great difficulty saying no. And there's a Bach flower remedy for that, specifically for having trouble saying no. Feeling overcome with guilt and hurt if someone is angry at you and almost debilitated by it until they accept your apology. Feeling the need, almost an uncontrollable need, to have approval of and validation from others, usually authoritative figures in our lives. Needing to hear praise in order to feel good, to feel acknowledged, and the opposite feels like a reprimand on our own existence. A tendency to adopt the habits of those around us, or even thoughts and opinions of others become our own when we don't know our own mind. So either we pretend to agree to avoid conflict, or we agree because no one, and we ourselves, never asked us what we truly think or feel about said situation. We imitate how others act as a way to be accepted by them, by being more like them, from a fear that they will not accept us for being our true, authentic selves. A tendency to let others control us, and this is subconscious on the most part. We don't want disapproval, so we may change something for them to be happy. Do something and later realize that's not what we want at all. Like changing your hairstyle or buying an item of clothing, etc. Difficulty expressing hurt, sadness, or anger that someone's actions may have caused us to feel. Being emotionally illiterate or a bit immature since we have not had the opportunity to develop our true authentic selves. So how to deal and move past people pleaser syndrome. Start small with baby steps. It's important to build up the courage to say no. Be sure that when you do say no, that it is safe for you to do so. Every time you say yes to others, that's a no to yourself. When you say no to others, It's a yes to yourself, to your needs. Finding out who your true authentic self is, and then having the courage to express your true authentic self. Sometimes just little actions. For example, I like to cosplay, and so that energy is more my true authentic self as opposed to trying to be like others around me. And so I take that energy with me, and of the feeling good and feeling able to express what I like, games I like, films I like, things I like to do, things that make me passionate, that sort of thing. And then I connect with others in a more authentic way, on a more authentic level. Understanding your body's needs is key. It can be as simple as saying no to that extra party during the holidays in order to stay rested and healthy. We fear the disapproval of others. We fear disappointing them, but we must validate ourselves first. What I do to validate myself, because I tend to need validation from other people, I have a plushie collection, and sometimes they're like my alter ego. So I have one of them tell me that it's okay, reassuring me. So it's a way for myself to reassure myself, to validate myself, even if someone else can't do it. And yes, at the same time, it's a little bit external. So it's an in-between up until, and there are days where I can reassure myself and say, it's okay. I'm safe right now. I don't need to fear this, or I'm feeling this way and it's okay. I'm allowed, as opposed to needing someone else to tell me that I'm allowed to feel the way that I'm feeling. So little steps like that. Strengthening our boundaries is another key element. So emotional boundaries, physical boundaries, energetic boundaries. There are a few ways to achieve all of these goals over time, aside from practice and acknowledging and facing our fears. EFT tapping therapy has done wonders for me, so of course I'll promote trying that out if it can work for you as well. I've had great benefits from it, and I've been doing it for years. There are also the Bach flower remedies that help with being able to say no, or with different types of things. I'm going to link to the playlist on the Bach flower remedies that I'm doing this season. Gemstones are another way to help strengthen our boundaries and to find our true authentic selves. Tiger's Eye is a good one for that. Grounding stones and being grounded will also help. You might choose to meditate or do a mindfulness meditation exercise, or playing an instrument if that puts you in a meditative state, to help stay grounded. It may take time, obviously, but with therapies and remedies that work best with each our bodies, you'll discover what works best for you, and it'll vibrate and help the body, the energy, the mind, the emotions, and we can all achieve these goals. So I hope this episode was helpful for you. Share it with anyone you think might benefit from it. If you'd like to support Green Healing, I do now have merchandise. The store will be linked in the description of this episode. There is also the Elements Healing Music with Tibetan Singing Bowl album. And if you'd like to make a larger contribution, there's the PayPal tip jar or Patreon. You can find all these links in the description below, or also on binkyproductions.com/greenhealing. Your support helps keep the podcast alive and is very much appreciated. And know your true self, define your boundaries, say no with confidence when you need, assert yourself, empower yourself, and be emotionally free.